Hey everybody, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to paint some super awesome Trippy art. So the very first thing I did was just trace around part of a circular lid, and now I'm just extending those lines, I guess. Basically just using that circle from the lid to create an outline that I can add onto. And then I'm going to draw a line across it, and then a line under that. Basically, just draw a UFO. I just wanted to show you guys that little trick to making the top domed part of the UFO. And then here I'm using a ruler to make sure that my lines are pretty evenly spaced apart. And then here I'm just using my ruler to draw the straight lines for the light beams. I'm drawing a whole bunch of these things that are supposed to be lights, but I ended up really hating them and I changed them at some point, so keep that in mind. I'm just painting the part that I'm going to do the acrylic pour on white. Usually you should use some gouache for this just to make it so that there isn't that canvas texture on your painting, but I didn't have gouache, so I just used some white paint. And now let's get on to the acrylic pour part. So I'm just putting some blobs of paint in my cups. And now I'm putting some of the pouring medium in there and mixing it up. The next step is to just put some drops of silicone oil in each paint color and then mix those up again. Now here I am just pouring each color into the little container. So yes, I was very well aware that it would probably get kind of muddy. I just didn't realize how muddy it would end up getting, so if you're going to do this, I recommend using only colors that complement each other because it kind of gets muddier than you would expect. I knew it was going to get muddy, I just didn't realize how bad it would end up, but I honestly think it still turned out pretty good. So I would recommend using colors like orange, yellow, and pink together, or blue, purple, and pink, or green, blue, and yellow. Just colors that go together, and when they mix together, they make a good color, or it just changes the shade colors. And I guess I didn't even mention the fact that I put tape on the canvas, so yeah, make sure you do that. I don't know why I didn't mention that. I don't know why that wasn't actually in the video, but anyways, yeah, you just want to tape around the edges of your canvas where you do not want the paint to be. And now to get the tape off, I just used a knife to cut the tape off basically. The acrylic pour was thin enough to where I could see the line of the tape, so I knew where to cut. Also, it was pretty easy even if I couldn't see the line because I knew the general direction of what I needed to cut off. I don't know how YouTube is going to feel about me straight up just using a knife to cut tape off of a painting. So we're just gonna pretend it's an X-Acto knife. Yeah, anyways, also an X-Acto knife would probably work really well for this. So if you don't want to use a pocket knife to cut tape off of a canvas, I would recommend using an X-Acto knife. Although also keep in mind if you use a regular canvas, you will just cut right through it, but I used a canvas panel board, so keep that in mind as well. And now we are on to actually painting the painting like normal. The first thing I did was I just did a layer of gray. If you have silver paint, I would recommend using silver paint, but I didn't have silver paint, though I had a pearlescent medium, and the pearlescent medium kind of ends up being kind of thin, so I just did a base layer of gray. So then in the next clip, you will see me actually putting the metallic gray on there. If you guys want to learn more about that, I will have the pearlescent medium review out at some point, although I am honestly not a huge fan of it, so I would recommend using silver if you have it. But if you don't have silver, gray would work just fine. I think it just gives it an extra touch of something cool, I guess. I don't know. I think it looks pretty neat though. And now we are on to the metallic paint. Basically, I got this Artist Loft medium. It's an iridescent, pearlescent type medium, but it's super thick and I'm just not a huge fan of it. So what I did is I took the medium and put some acrylic pour fluid medium in there just to make it more liquidy. And then I put black and white paint and I ended up with this silvery type color. So yeah, there's that. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing that if you don't already have that medium because it's kind of sucks. Anyways, use silver if you have it. Basically, if you don't, just use gray. It's no big deal. But now we are on to the glass part of the UFO. So I just used light blue, and I wish I would have used an even lighter blue. If you want, you can make it look clear and actually put an alien in there. And then the next thing I did was just put some neon yellow on the circles to make them look like lights, and also so that they will glow under the blue LED lights. And then my next thing was just going around the whole entire UFO with black paint to do kind of an outline, and then I'm just going to paint the entire background black anyways, but I just wanted to do the outline first so that it was easier to paint the background. And this is another really nice thing: if you're just painting the background black, then any little mistakes from the acrylic pour will be covered up super nicely. The next little thing I did here was just add a dot and then a line to make a highlight on the glass, and then I did a highlight on the actual silver part of the UFO as well, just to make it look a little bit more realistic, I guess. I don't know, I think it just looks really nice adding a highlight. And then for the background, instead of doing a regular galaxy, I just took the back of a paintbrush and dipped it in some white paint and then put little dots all over the entire canvas. And I think it looked pretty cool. If you wanted to do a galaxy background, it would look even cooler, but I think this dotted background looks pretty cool because then it doesn't take attention away from the glowing neon puke that's coming out of the bottom of the UFO, I guess. Yeah, it kind of looks like puke. Oops. Anyways, the next thing you're going to do is put some more detail on the UFO. I just used these black paint markers to outline a few things. You could use regular paint though as well. And honestly, I should have done this before I even did the background because I wanted to get the UFO done first, but I kind of forgot about it. Anyways, you just want to add any extra details to the UFO that you may have forgotten. And then my last step here is to just paint some Mod Podge all over the entire canvas. I would recommend using some sort of spray sealant, a clear protective sealant type layer, but I don't have any of that and I can never find any of it. I don't know what a good brand or a good kind of it is to use anyways, and I have a bunch of Mod Podge, so I just use that, and I feel like the layer ends up being a little too thick and glossy, so I want to get some spray sealant, but I just haven't gotten it yet. So honestly, if you are shopping for art supplies, I'd recommend getting some sort of spray sealant instead of Mod Podge for this particular purpose. But yeah, I mean, it works. If it's all you have and you have to use it, it definitely works. And just like that, we are done with this super awesome painting. I feel like the light beam turned out okay. It's definitely a lot muddier than I thought it would be. I think it's pretty cool, but I would definitely like to redo this piece and use some different colors so that it's not so bad. And then the next thing here is you can see this painting under blue LED lights. Sorry for the quality being so poor. Trust me, it looks better than that under the lights. It's just that I have to use my phone because my camera doesn't like to work in low light situations, but also my phone still doesn't work the best in low light situations. So please keep in mind that it looks way cooler under the LED lights, like in real life, than it does on camera. But other than that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.